hello, and welcome to my much anticipated Kill Team Warhammer World Critical Strike 2 event review. So this was a tournament at Warhammer World that I attended back on the 13th and 14th of January, and I finally got around to making my video review because, of course, straight after the tournament happened, they dropped a load of Kill Team news, a load of previews, a load of good stuff like that, but now we're back with the review. So, if you've been waiting for it, enjoy. So, a quick event overview. So, it was a quick event overview. No, a quick event overview is a weekend-long Kill Team event. 6 rounds, 3 on day 1 and 3 on day 2, which was a vast improvement over the previous Critical Strike event, where, if you remember, for some reason they decided to do 4 event rounds on day 1 and 2 on day 2. So, I much preferred the 3 and 3 split. Well done, Games Workshop. It was a mixture of Season 1 Into the Dark, and once again, with it being Warhammer World, loads of space, they were able to put a Season 1 and Into the Dark board on every table, so everybody got to play 3 games of Season 1 and 3 games of Into the Dark. And I don't know if their tables are big enough, but, it would be nice if Warhammer World, when the next season comes out, could make sure we can get 2 games of Season 1, 2 games of Into the Dark, and 2 games of Better Decima. Is that possible? Don't know. They were using the Turning Point Tactics map pack for their Season 1 maps, plus some of their own Verticus tables using their Verticus map pack, which they have updated and tweaked slightly. Don't focus on it in this video, because I didn't actually play any of the Verticus tables because of the look of the draw, but if you'd like me to do a video on the updated Games Workshop Verticus map pack, leave a comment down below, I guess. All the usual lovely things to say about Warhammer World once again. Warhammer World is a big corporate venue, has a lot of things going for it. There's so much space. All the staff are lovely. They remember you from previous events. People that work for the company. Ed always comes up to me and asks me about my daughter and asks me about my wife and says, when are you taking a turn babysitting so she can come to events and all this sort of stuff. It feels like a big global gaming club. Right, and this was a conversation I actually had because there were patrons in Warhammer World who were saying, "Oh, it's great that you let clubs hire out the hall," and Ed was explaining to them actually, this is an event that we're running. People have come from all over the country and indeed all over the world to come to this event, and the customer was apparently like, "Oh, but it feels like everybody knows each other," and the Kill Team community just be that way, I suppose. It really does just feel like an extended gaming club, the people that travel to Warhammer World for this sort of thing. Really lovely, and their venue is amazing and huge and massive and have all the food and the car parking and everything else that you could want, which, all really, really positive. Obviously, you do pay for that. It was expensive, right? Definitely that. It was expensive, but no, I had a great time. Food and accommodation, I'm going to talk about this quickly. So it's about the food at Games Workshop Warhammer World, because last time I reviewed Critical Strike 1, I kind of slated the food a little bit, because it had been, I felt, notably worse than the previous events I've been to. And I'm happy to say this was a restoration in quality, to the quality that we're used to. So this isn't a photograph of the food there, but it really could be for matching what it was like. I had a really nice Cumberland sausage round with loads of mashed. My plate was piled high, right, with mashed potato, loads of mashed potato, loads of gravy. Because I'm from the north and we love gravy, right? All the gravy, a bit of vegetables, brilliant. And then on day 2, I have pork goulash. Never had goulash before in my life, right? So I don't know if it tasted how goulash is supposed to taste. It was like a porky tomatoey stew thing, and I had it with chips. I don't know if it's supposed to go with chips, but there's chips, so I just put that together. But the food was quite good, especially on the Saturday. I have to say, the Cumberland sausage rounds always get a big vote of confidence from me. Sunday's food was a little bit more limited. There's a lot of, nothing against vegans and stuff. There's a lot of vegan options, and I'm never quite, I've nothing against, I like vegetarian food, and food doesn't have to have meat in to be delicious, but I'm a little bit dubious of, fake meat. It's not for me. A little bit about the accommodation. So this is outside Games Workshop's control, obviously, because we stayed in the Holiday Inn, but I do want to mention it just for the benefit of those people who are maybe travelling to Warhammer World. So usually Zimbad and I, we stay in the Nottingham Riverside Travel Lodge, which is the nearest hotel as the crow flies to Warhammer World. It is a travel lodge. So if you're not from the UK, travel lodge is a very basic kind of a hotel. You know, there'll be a guy on the desk in a polo shirt that'll call you mate. And you get your key and you go to your room, and there's very little in the room. The beds are clean, you know, and the hotel's warm and dry. And there's usually the kind of shower you have to climb into the bath, which I can just about manage, you know, to have a shower. Very basic hotel is what I'm saying, right? Now, for some reason, when I went to book it, they wanted over £100 a night in the Riverside Travel Lodge. Now, normally a travel lodge, you look to pay about 40 quid for a room. They suddenly wanted over 100, so I thought, oh, hang on, I'll go look at the Holiday Inn. The Holiday Inn was like £12 a room more expensive, and you've got, you know, suddenly you're staying at a proper hotel, so you've got a guy on the desk in a nice suit who calls you sir, you know. You've got free biscuits in the room. You've got a room with a nice walk-in shower, a massive bed. Plugs actually at the head of the bed so you can look at your phone when you're supposed to be sleeping. And then there's the tea and there's the bar and the restaurant and the breakfast and all, which you have to pay extra for. But it was much better than going to the Riverside Farm pub, which is next to the travel lodge. Like, next time Games Workshop do an event, I'm just saying, look at the prices at the Holiday Inn, look at the prices at the Nottingham Riverside Travel Lodge, look at the prices of the Premier Inn that's next to the Holiday Inn, right, which is kind of in the middle of those two, and just decide for yourself what you want to do based on how much things cost. Because the prices at the Travel Lodge really fluctuate. Like, for me, like, because it's just it's you know, 40 quid for a Travel Lodge, which is what we do when we go to Notts Kill Team. You know, staying at the Mansfield Travel Lodge, it's like less than, it's like £30 odd for a night for a room. That's fine, no problem. But when it fluctuates higher than that, look for the Holiday Inn and get more for the money that you're going to have to spend. Right, on to the actual Warhammer. It's always the way. How long have I been talking for now? Nearly 10 minutes. Nice. So round one was versus the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Daunt of Notts Kill Team. Legendary because his truly massive, impressive diorama-based forest Necrons won the painting competition. I do have a photograph of them in the deck somewhere here later on. They also won at Notts Kill Team. He's from Notts Kill, one of the Notts Kill Team guys. Standard of hobby that they bring is frankly intimidating. Like, it's just that good. So this was a great game. Probably my favourite game of the event, actually. And Matt won best opponent, which means everybody, including myself, voted for him as most favourite opponent. So Matt won 17 to my 16, right? So I did lose, but I lost. But losing by 1 point doesn't feel like it felt like a really good game that came down to the last throw of the dice. It was my first time playing against, in fact I don't think I ever played against Heretic. I've played as Heretic pre-buff, like when they first came out, because I thought, I like a skeleton, maybe I like a metal skeleton. They didn't really work for me pre-buff. I don't think they really work for anyone pre-buff. First time playing against them and post-buff, and of course he was using the Chronomancer, and I've forgotten what it's called, the Chronomancer mine that everybody uses, that you put down and it slows down your movements, right? And literally, that's what won him the game, right? Because he was able to kind of really lock down the centre of the board there, really stop my guys from getting as much movement as they wanted to, really hilariously cripple my heavy bolter guy, who has only 2 circle movement at the best of time, and just grind me down and get me off the primaries. And we were both trying to do secure centre line and secure centre point as well, so it was just able to nudge the pieces such that he snuck ahead by 1 point. Really, really close game, really, really good game, really, really nice friendly guy, really great way to start the tournament, and I think set me up for a better tournament run than the time that I played last time when I had to play Bart. Nothing against Bart, he's actually a nice guy. It was a good game, it was a great game, but it was what we would call a drubbing. It's nice to get a good close game for your first game, and then you go in it with the old positive mental attitude, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing Matt again and seeing Matt again. We're playing him, certainly seeing him, playing him potentially at the Knots Kill Team, the Easter one. I think I'm sponsored by them. I've mentioned it like 4 times, but it's almost like they're slightly different flavours of the same thing. Like, because it's both in Nottingham and it's a lot of the same crowd, and it's a lot of the same. It's, I guess, a lot of the national kill team community come to both events now as well. It's kind of like comparing your your chocolate ice cream with your cookie dough ice cream. They're pretty similar things. They do a pretty similar job. Which is which in that analogy? You'll have to decide. It's always with the food and drink analogies, me. That's why I'm the size I am. So then round 2 was versus Stuart Pollard, another Knots Kill Teamer. Stuart was playing Intercession. He won again, but again it was a little less close, right? But it was 16-18. This was also a really, really fun game. It was a near mirror match. I was playing Justian, of course. I should have said that at the start. And he was playing the Intercession. And we ended up with Marines alive on opposite side of the board that couldn't really interact with each other at all in the last turning point, and we were running around trying to hold on to objectives. It really came down to I had a last throw of the dice where we had 2 guys in combat on the objective up at the top there at the end of TP3. And I used my stratagem to fight him, to do an extra fight action. And he, I forget exactly what it was, but he just managed to save a wound and hit me back and kill my guy and claim that point, right? Which, that 2-point swing would have given me a draw. So that is literally how close it really came down to it, right? So, really enjoyed that game, running around tagging points. A great game against another great player. Round 3 versus Ian Lenton, which is funny because Warhammer World is in a suburb of Nottingham called Lenton, so I don't know if there's a connection there or not. Ian was playing Compendium Gene Stealers, so which is choosing to go into the game with a handicap. Ian was clearly a really good player. He understood the game and he understood what was going to happen and he understood how his team worked and what he needed to do. But as he pointed out a couple of times during the game, the maths just aren't in his favour against Marines, especially against Justian, where actually, I've got a sergeant with an extra wound, also a captain with an extra wound, and also the heavy bolter with a couple of extra wounds. And yes, to balance that out with the Phobos guy with less wounds compared to Intercession, but the Phobos guy is usually hiding at the back, right? He's going to be the hardest to find and get into combat with. It just is tough because the Gene Stealers charge you, they hit you, you hit them, they hit you, you're not dead, and you continue to hit them, and it was really a struggle for him. I was able to get onto and really dominate the objectives, score the primaries, score the secondaries, kill the Gene Stealers and do all the things. It wasn't actually, it looks from the scoreline very open and shut. There was a point in turning point 2 where I was worried. There were worries, but the Gene Stealers started off really strong, but as I started to kill them, the power they had to really affect the game just rapidly diminished, and by the end of the game they'd folded up quite a lot. So I ended day 1 with 1 win and 2 losses. Happy with that because it meant that I was already beating the record that I was on at the first event where I came dead last with all losses. So I knew that I wasn't going to be dead last again, so that was good. So went back to the hotel, with my friends. I'll talk more about those later. And back to games the next day. So round 4 versus Big Meech, which is what he entered his name as on BCP. Now, Mr. Meech did tell me his real name. I didn't write it down, and I've forgotten it. Sorry. If you are Big Meech and you would like your real name known, come and comment in the comments. That's all I can say. But Mr. Meech was playing Harlequins. I lost 13 to his 19. Justian versus Harlequins on Into the Dark just felt like a big hill to climb. Like, he knew what he was doing. He was able to outmaneuver and destroy my Marines and destroy them in combat. Especially with this map, it had a thing where you committed to the actually think I did 2 Marines to one lane, 1 Marine in the middle lane, and 3 Marines in another lane to try and I don't know, skew it slightly. But it just meant that the Marines were able so easily to be outmaneuvered and played around by the Harlequins, who are more numerous but also have 3 APL. Right, they're more numerous, and of course, one of my models, I only have 6, and one of them got that 2-circle move. So it was just absolutely a game that was won quite simply in the move phase. Against other teams, you'll see later, I played against Halfkin had the opposite effect, right? Because they're slow and APL 2. These were more numerous than me, APL 3, right? And didn't have one model that was slowed, and of course, access to some bonus movement as well. So. Yeah, I thought I did okay to get 13 to 19. I was happy with the loss, and we move on to the next game. So round 5 versus Phil Saunders, Battle of the Phils. Okay, so he was playing Tzeentch Legionaries. So Legionaries all with the mark of Tzeentch. I won pretty decisively, 20 to his 10. So I think, actually, to be fair to Phil, I think he did make a few tactical errors. He done, and I'd done this sort of thing before, right? I've done this when I was playing Kazakin. Played very defensively, had a lot of his models castled. If I get the laser pointer, he had a lot of his models sort of castled up in here, not wanting to kind of move out and really contest the board, scared of my shooting. When actually, Justin don't bring that much shooting, so. I played really aggressively. I had my heavy bolter. Kind of started off here, captured this objective, continued to move around this way. Had my guy with the smoke grenade came up here, threw smoke straight away to avoid getting shot. Captured this one here, and then was hanging out here. And I just moved up. Had the captain up here, moving round here, just. Punching any fools that came nearby, being protected by the smoke. It was just, I just got out, sprang out, got onto the objectives, and he wasn't able to shift me off, I think because he was playing too cautiously, honestly. If I'm remembering correctly, which isn't always the perfect thing. So, yeah, it was a good game. It was a decisive win. And just, I think, I feel like it should have been, given that on paper, the matchup, you'd expect the Chaos guys, but I just think he played a little bit too defensively, which is interesting against a team like Justin, who actually, long-range shooting, yeah, okay, I've got a sniper, and yeah, I've got a heavy bolter, but I haven't got a plasma gun. Actually, I was more afraid of his, because I have memories of playing Kazakin, and being almost destroyed in turn 1 by the librarian, right? With that fire blast attack. Now, he did get one off on me, and I seem to remember whiffed the roll quite badly as well. So that helps as well, right? And then finally, round 6 versus David King. So David was playing Halfkin. I won pretty decisively again, 22 to David's 11. And I really did feel like the inverse of my game against Mr. Meach, he who is big. It was just a poor matchup for David because, of course, the Halfkin have poor movement. And he's 2 APL, whereas I'm 3 APL. I was just able to get up secure objectives early on, and then I used my smoke grenade and the layout of the board to try not to expose myself to much shooting. I was able to kind of put combat guys near doorways to threaten doorways to kind of try and make him not want to come through so much. He did get one really good shot, what should have been a really good shot with the laser line weapon, right? But the dice weren't on his side, and I think that was a pretty big upset. Because that could have turned the game for him. It was a big shot. He got a shot kind of right the way down this this corridor section. I had a marine here and a marine here, and he came out here and had quite a big shot. But no, it wasn't to be, sadly. And he just struggled to shift me. Again, Justian can be tankier. Well, they have the same number of wounds as Intercession as a team, but you keep your Phobos guy well back, who's weaker. They can be tankier because they got that extra captain with the leadership profile, and the heavy bolter guy with loads of extra wounds. And it was just he just struggled to shift me from my commanding position I was able to get onto early with my model. So one person I haven't mentioned so far in my review is Mr. Nightfall. Those of you who attend the live streams definitely know who Mr. Nightfall is. Mr. Nightfall is a long-time member of the channel, was for a while a member at the very top tier of the channel, and actually decided to come over from Germany to play at Warhammer World. So frankly humbled that I'm able to persuade somebody to come over to a Warhammer World tournament from Germany at considerable expense, airfare, hiring a car and all these other things. Really great to meet people, really great to meet hobbyists, especially ones that have travelled internationally. And the big kicker is that he'd never really played Kill Team before. So you can imagine the scene in the Holiday Inn, on the Friday night. It was kind of getting intensive pointers from Zimbad and myself at the hotel bar, mainly from Zimbad, right? Because despite what the results will say, generally speaking, Zimbad's the better player of the two of us, right? He always beats me, anyway. So I'm gonna. He sent me some notes, and I think rather than dilute what he said, I'm going to just go through and go through what he's written to me, and then try and just maybe add a little bit on top. So first 3 games. Game 1, Open Terrain versus John, Assault Intercessors. He lost quite decisively, 12-22. Game 2, Into the Dark versus James with Corsair Voidsguard. Lost quite decisively, 7-23. Game 3 on Open Terrain versus Georgie with Legionaries. Lost 16-20, so narrowing the gap, right? So day 1, 3 losses. But then the thing is, he came out of the door on day 2 and pulled out 3 wins, right? So game 4 versus Phobos on Into the Dark, won 15-13, so a narrow win. Brilliant. Game 5, Compendium Death Guard. Okay, so guy Chris with Compendium Death Guard, 2017, right? Another win. And game 6 on Into the Dark versus Dave's Legionaries, 17-12, another win for Nightfall. And it's one of those things which, it's a real showcase of kind of that rapid improvement that you can get when you really. It's like how in the video games guys sometimes have a game jam where they just sit and code for 12 hours or whatever, and they can't always at the end. This was almost like a kill team, intensive kill team, like an intensive driving course. Just, we're going to play 3 games, and then the next day we're going to play 3 games, and you can really see the improvement. And then yes, there will be a thing of having lost the first 3 games, you're then getting matched against people who've also lost their first 3 games. Sure, that would have helped, but yeah, he had a really great time, and he learned Kill Team, I think. I'm blown away and humbled that somebody was willing to come over just on my say-so, to try out an event at quite a considerable expense. Certainly more expense than we had to pay out to go. So yeah. Now he wrote down the bottom, and I'll read it out, which seems like the right thing to do. Very nice players, were very open to explaining certain mechanics and rules, and helped me through various decision trees. I had much fun role-playing as my Skaven Wormblade, as he likes to call them, Cheeseblade, either rescuing the leader from a probable headhunt attack up and having it running behind heavy cover, or one sneaky rat coming out of the shadows to give a shotgun blast to the back of an already injured Space Marine. Brilliant. Let's have the final placings. So 66 players overall. Great to see so many recognisable names. We'll go through the list in a minute or two there. No Spanish players this time around, I guess, because there was no golden ticket on offer. Maybe that tips the balance for them not wanting to come down and play, come across the ocean there and play. But yeah, otherwise it was a really good mix, and a lot of people that you see a lot. Zimbad was feeling a little under the weather. Zimbad actually finished behind both me and Mr. Nightfall, which is uncharacteristic for him. I think he was playing a little unwell a little bit on the Sunday. Poor old Zimbad. We pretty sure he has long COVID, so sometimes the lack of energy just kind of floors him a little bit, but enjoyed himself, right, and was glad that he came, which is the main thing. So let's just go through Nick Collins. I'm sure I know the name Nick Collins, but I can't for the life of him place him. Okay, Nick Collins won, the winner, right? Dan Barton, of course. young man, I think he's 17, might be 18 now, famously got invited to Worlds, and then there was visa problems because he was a child and couldn't go, but I think Denbot might be UK number 1, generally speaking. But yeah, fantastic kill team player. Number 3, Machues, Polish number 1, I believe, or certainly was for a long time. Bart, famously of the London scene, played novitiates this time round. It'll be interesting to see. Novitiates, as you may remember, my first love at Kill Team. I'm not going to pretend that I should go back to novitiates, but yeah, certainly nice to see these familiar names. Guy Barton, pretty sure Dan's dad, right? And 5th as well, so a great finish in his own right as well, which is amazing. And then we'll spin on a few names I don't recognise. Down here at number 8, we got John Reese, which is Mr. Can You Roll a Crit? Up at 8th place, which is nice. Would expect to finish in the top 10, right, Mr. Crit, but he's done good. His kill team was beautiful, by the way. People often think of people like, oh, well, you're either good at the game or you're good at painting, right? Turns out that Mr. John Reese, John from Wales, is actually something of a Renaissance man, because his kill team is beautiful, right? His Rogue Trader kill team's all converted up. I don't think he's actually showing it off properly on his channel, which is a weird thing, because maybe he doesn't want to be known, maybe it's a demographics thing and a metrics thing, and he knows the people that come to him are rules guys and not hobby guys or whatever. But it's a really beautiful team, and he should be proud of it. But there's Charles, of course, John's sort of number 2 henchman, supporter, behind the scenes man and battle report opponent. We got Jason, the organizer of Not to Kill Team stuff. Chris from Not to Kill Team, who went to Worlds, who famously won the best all round ticket, right? Who went to Worlds on the back of his amazing hobby, as well as his decent record at the game, right? Up in 15th, proving, I guess, he's good enough to get a top 15 win out of 66, right? He's not actually bad at kill team, for all that he went on a ticket that wasn't won purely from gaming. So great to see that. You love to see it. Matt Dunn, there you go, number 16, my first opponent. A few more people I don't recognise. I'm sure some of these names I've seen before, but nothing's springing to mind. Mr. Matt Godling's in there. Apparently never submitted a roster. Not sure. Not sure what's going on there, Matt. But Mr. Matt Godlington down at the bottom with me, right? Last time he was 3rd from bottom. And we were both on 0 wins in our last game. We played against each other, and he could easily have been dead last time had fates been different. And look how he's come up. He's come up to 25th. So well done, Matt. That's you've genuinely improved. I've improved. We've all improved. Or we didn't have the Spanish players here ruining the curve for everybody. I don't know, but well done. We've all improved. Other people here that there's Big Meech sticks out like a person called Big Meech does. Here am I at 34 out of 66. So over the 50%. No, hang on. Just under the 50% mark. Half of 66 is 33, Phil. Don't lie to yourself. So, just under the halfway mark would have been... that's going to be my aim for the next tournament. I want to finish at the top half, right? So, my aim for this tournament, I succeeded. I wanted to go 3-3, which I did. My aim for the next tournament is just going to be slightly improvement. I'm going to play to the best. These kind of milestones are funny because you always just play to the best of your ability, don't you? It's not like I want to play harder. But I would be nice to finish in the top half. That's kind of what I'm going to hope to do in the next big event I go to, right? Here, Michael Johan, this is Mr. Nightfall, right? So 39th place out of 66, having arrived, never having played any kill team before, which is kind of a big deal. And then down here, Paul. So it's basically confirmed I'm better at kill team than Paul. It doesn't matter how many times he beats me on a one-on-one. This is the only metric we ever need to do, right? So this tournament is the only thing that matters, and I'm better than Paul. I am superior at kill team. That's what we're going to go with. no. In all seriousness, he was really quite unwell on the Sunday. So yeah. And then going down to the bottom of the list, less names now that I recognise. Spare player was, you're supposed to come last. Spare player, what are you doing winning a game? But yeah, spare player. There was a spare player, which is funny because at one point Zimbad's brother was supposed to be joining us and couldn't go at the last minute because he had stomach flu. So we have been following the fortunes of spare player as if he was because that should have been Paul's brother. But there you go. I'm going to share some photographs of the event. So here is us. I'm not going to say who's who, right? So, but it's obviously me, and then we've got Mr. Nightfall, Mr. Zimbad, and Mr. Matthew Poole, who came to the event not to play, just to say hi, just because he's in my cult. I don't know, and to pick up his Demon Prince for winning the painting competition, right, which I'd forgotten and have now posted to him. He does now have the regrettable Demon Prince that's now in his collection. But at the time it was like, oh, you've come all this way, I forgot your thing, sorry. A few pictures. So down here we have Mr. Nightfall's cheese blade. I've not done them justice, really. Let me see if I can quickly, while I'm recording, get a bit of it. It's a bit better. So this was his Skaven themed Gene Stealer cult team. And if you want to see better pictures of these, there's no place to see better pictures than on the Tabletop Impulse Discord server. So if you scroll down to the description, find the link for the Discord, join the Discord, and have a look in the hobby channels. You'll find some wonderful studio shots of this team, or you can indeed just ping Mr. Nightfall and say, hey, show me your cheese blade. They look really amazing. I am inspired by them. I think they look really, really cool. I think they work really, really well, lore-wise, and he had nice cards printed out where they map really nicely onto the actual figures, so his opponents weren't at all confused. And fair play to Games Workshop for allowing them and saying that they were a thing that was allowed in the game. I'm gonna break OBS. Right? No, I'm not. We're gonna go back over here. And we're just going to have a quick look at Mr. Zimbad's. These are Mr. Zimbad's space sharks, which he painted for the Bad Ab War competition. I don't think he had them all finished in time for the Bad Ab War. So I don't know if these have been featured on the channel before. They've been featured on the Discord. And some of them were featured in the Bad Ab War video, but I don't think they were all quite finished. So this was the intercession team that he was playing. Really lovely painted team. No display base, which is why it didn't get any better. Display bases are a thing which we'll talk about in just a second as we look at the person who ultimately won Best Painted. It's amazing. It's amazing in every single way. And the guy is a fantastic bloke and was a fantastic opponent. And I don't want to take anything away from his accomplishment. However, they allocate a little bit of space for the painting competition, and it's first come, first serve, and there's already a thing with a bit of jostling for people to get models into slightly more prime positions where they're towards the front of the cabinet, and more people are doing display bases now. It's an arms race. I have also come to the belief, which is why I did this display base, that you're not going to win a Warhammer World Kill Team painting competition without a display base. And now, this is an order of magnitude greater, and fair, put in a lot of effort, right? And it is amazing, and it does deserve to have won. All I'm not everybody, even if everybody was inclined to do something of this size and scale, the cabinets aren't going to support that. So maybe what Games Workshop need to do is to just clarify display bases. Maybe there's going to be a dimensions limit if it is going to be a painting competition that people are taking increasingly seriously, because people are people are going to see this and go, I'm going to top that now, and should people like Zimbad, who paint a fantastic little squad but don't necessarily have the time or the inclination to make a massive... I don't know. And it's not... I hope I've not upset, the winner, because he's, like I said, a great guy. Look forward to playing him again at Nottingham, the tournament. I do have this little itch in the back of my head that's can't exactly accommodate all these display bases. So we'll see what happens there. But it was a great game. It was a fantastic game. Fantastic day, fantastic weekend, fantastic experience. So, in order to learn, I need to be a little bit reflective. So now comes along the slide of reflection. I'm retiring Justian, right? So Justian, there was this thing all day. Justian are a proper team, and in theory they have no archetypes and can't play. So we was using the kind of TO level FAQ, which is where, oh yes, Justian used the TAC ops that Intercession use, right? It's not actually written anywhere. And the heavy boulder thing, does it have 4 shots or 5 shots? Again, just use the 5 shots. It's not actually written anywhere. And it feels like they are a little bit less, like, I would have expected those things to get FAQ'd when there was, we haven't had any FAQs, and maybe Justin will get an FAQ in an FAQ wave when one is done, but it feels like they're not really regarded as a proper team. And I feel like I want to move on and play other things anyway. And yeah, part of it is the hobby stuff. Like, these are the best models I've ever painted. Entered them into the painting competition. Obviously didn't win anything, otherwise I would have shouted that from the rafters. I'm not saying I deserve to win, because other people's painting was better, but on the other hand, you need to kind of take that in and go, well, this is the very best I can do. I have to really try and push to top that. Do I believe that I can top that with the next thing? Not sure, right? I am working on Howling Banshees for my next team. They're built, they're little tiny, smaller than that display base, because if I'm going to complain about the size of this, I've still done a display base, but it's I've got it here, right? So it's that. Right, maybe you can see in the face scan. Now, there's a reason it's that small. It's because Mr. Nightfall actually gifted me it's buried under some stuff because I haven't prepped it, but like a 3D printed, it's called a Warganizer. I've been through it on one of the live streams, so if you remember, you can check back the live streams that are done every Tuesday. We live stream, and then and they're free for everybody, right? And then the recording, the video on demand, is members only. So if you are a channel member, you can go back and look at that live stream. I think it does say about the Warganizer, hands-on with the Warganizer on the thumbnail. The little tray, and it's basically stealing the idea from Nightfall. The little tray for that actually slides in and out of the Warganizer is pretty cool. So gone for a smaller display base there. I'm going to try and paint those up to a really high standard in time for the Easter Not to Kill Team event. We'll see what I can manage, but right now I don't have the... I lack the self-belief. I need to recharge my hobby batteries by working on other projects for a little bit, I think. I am genuinely humbled to be part of a community like this. Nightfall coming over, and not just that, Matthew Poole coming up just to say hi to me, effectively, and hang out, right? And, the fact that I'm going to this Knots one in Easter, and there's at least one person that's coming, and he's bringing friends of his, largely because I've been covering it on my channel and I recommended the previous one. That's pretty humbling. Like, it's only a small YouTube channel. It's like 1.5K members, and you think it's and then that's a massive number, but then again, it's like not into like. You're not really a proper YouTube channel unless you've got over 10k. That's a kind of a truism, but at the same time, like, the Kill Team community is so small and everybody knows each other that if those 1.5k people, if a proportion of them are not quite as diluted across the globe as you might think, then it becomes quite a position of responsibility. And I am humbled by the people. I just can't. It's hard to process. It's like, I don't think this is anything very special, this channel. I enjoy the content that I make, and I enjoy making it, and I make content that I would want to watch. But I'm not a award-winning painter. I'm not someone that regularly podiums when I play the game. I'm not someone who organises like the community. It's not like I'm someone that like Kill Team Stream, right? Who like a big TO name that runs things. I don't have I have a Discord, but it's not like Andy's Discord, which has become like the Kill Team hub for like all of Kill Team. Like that's the hub. God, it got really introspective now on what's supposed to be a tournament review video. Like, I obviously have some kind of unique selling point, but I struggle to identify what it is. Like, you know, if you look certainly in the UK scene, you can sort of say, well, you know, there's Glandy, and he was there first, and he was the one that breathed the really injected life into the whole thing, got his Discord server up, and is really responsible for Kill Team being such a buzzing thing online, right? Like he is the originator of the online Kill Team community. Then you've got, you know, John, Can You Roll a Crit, who, you know, is a competitive player and has won events and been invited to World Invitationals, and is also a great hobbyist, and you've got to respect that, right? And for a long time they were the only two voices, and they had, you know, this kind of two different viewpoints. And then you've got Turning Point Tactics, who, you know, they're Ryan's so good at the game. Like that's a really, and he's really good. With my teacher hat on, I'm qualified to say he's really good at explaining things really clearly, and so am I. But he actually has knowledge to back up his claims. Like, I'm explaining something, but I don't think the stuff that I explain has much merit. So I guess what I'm saying is I struggle to see my own USP, and it's difficult to understand how I inspire these people to be to rock up to these things. But there you go. And other people, including a guy in the who works at Warhammer World, came up to me and was like, oh, I really loved your coverage of the Not Kill Team tournament. That was really good. When are you reviewing this event? Well, I hope, I didn't get your name, fella, but I hope you're watching this one, and I hope that you're enjoying it. And if you've got any sway with the sending out free stuff to YouTubers department there at Warhammer HQ, you know. But yeah, so I wanted to say, by the way, I've mentioned it a few times, there are still 12 tickets, I think, for the Not Kill Team Easter thing, so I will stick the link down in the description, give them a little buff. They don't know that I'm doing that. They don't pay me any money. I'm not sponsored by them. You have to take the fact that I've mentioned them 12 or 13 times in this video as a genuine personal endorsement, because it is. You know, I know people on the internet are always on the guard for, he's recommending this thing a lot, right? And that's a sensible way to be on the internet and on YouTube, but genuinely a personal endorsement. And in terms of my play, like, because I've gone off on one about painting, about being a YouTuber, about everything else, this is supposed to be reflecting on the tournament and my growth as a player. That's what the title says. My growth as a player. Answer the question set, Phil. I kind of feel like, yes, I've mastered Into the Dark. Well, not mastered Into the Dark, but I'm no longer utterly awful at Into the Dark. But it's really all changed now. We've gone into a new season. We've got Better Decima to contend with. I need to play a game on Better Decima to know what I'm talking about with it, right? But I'm one of these things where I'm going to play a game tomorrow against Zimbat. I'm actually reluctant to play on Better Decima because I want to play with the Banshees. I'm excited to try that. And you don't want to... I'm a big believer in not changing two variables at the same time, right? It's like trying to fix a computer. You don't do all the things that might fix it at once. One thing, turn it on, see if it works. So I want to try the Banshees, probably on a Season 1 board. And then the week after that, I'll try Better Decima and see where we go with that. If Zimbat's up for it, you know. So, yeah. That's my excuse for not really having a plan to do better. But I'm going to try and finish in the top half at Nottingham. I'm going to go to Nottingham and try and finish the top half at Not Kill Team. That's the goal. You know. Right, I've rambled. Where are we at with this video? 43 minutes. Most people that aren't Nightfall and Matthew Poole have probably turned it off. But if you're still watching at this point, congratulations, thank you. Were you at the event? Were you at the Warhammer World event? If you were, let me know down below in the comments, you know, and say hi. And if I was one of your opponents and I completely misremembered our game, or I'm not even sure I've got the right map for the one I played in my last game because I didn't take a photograph, let me know in the comments. Are you going to be at the Not to Kill Team event in Easter? I've mentioned it enough times. But if you're going to be there, let me know in the comments. Say hi, because obviously you know what I look like. I don't always know what you look like. That's how this works, right? It's one way. Do all the stuff, if you're not subscribed and you've got this far through this video, obviously you like whatever that ineffable thing is that I can't put my finger on, so you should subscribe so you can get more of it. That's how subscribing works, and it makes the number go up, and that makes me a happy person. And leave a comment, press like, join the Discord. Why do I have 1,000 subs and not 1,000 people on the Discord? That doesn't make any sense to me. The Discord is where it's at. If you're not on the Discord, you're like missing out on so much stuff that you could be having. Discord's free, by the way. There is membership that does get you perks and an extra room on the Discord, but 90% of the Discord free for anybody, so do click on that. Big thank you to my channel members, especially, and I do mean that, a big thank you to my channel members, because I'm now making not a lot of money, but £60 to £70 every single month from AdSense, which is, it's not nothing. It's not nothing, especially in this economy. With everything going up, it's not nothing. So I am, again, humbled and thankful for that. So thank you. I'm reinstated. So Nightfall used to be a member at the highest level. One of the perks of being a member at the highest level is you get your name in this delicious pink colour on the final slide. I've reinstated it for free, for this special one, just to say special thank you for travelling all the way over from Germany, at great personal expense, right? Great to meet you, Nightfall. I hope one day that you'll come back again, and we'll have more games. And I'm sure next time you'll continue to improve at the same rate, and so you will beat me and Zimbabwe both. Yeah, right. That's it. That's the end of the ramble. It's been good. It's been hopefully a wholesome one. I tried to make it a wholesome one. I'll see you again at the weekend. That's how this works, with another video of some sort about something. Who knows? Who might even be Kill Team related. That's not a promise. See you then. Goodbye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Cheerio. Good night. Bye bye.